So I think I recently saw what I would presumably and hypothetically assume to be a clue or a hint, I would say, in regard to what Onyx could be doing next in terms of what they're trying to release. And what is that? Even though nothing I say is financial advice, they recently made a post saying, should we start posting screenshots of the new Onyx wallet? That's what they said, right? I'm just quoting them. But here's the thing. If I take a look at the image that they posted, it's like nothing, actually. Like I can't see anything. So it's just more so of a clue, right? Because they put like emojis when it comes to like the eye emoji. So I'm guessing, you know, this is kind of a clue, right? It's kind of like saying, oh, maybe this could come next, but that's the only clue that we're getting as of right now. It's kind of like a teaser. That's the way to take a look at it. You know, sometimes we have like a trailer and then there's like a teaser trailer for a movie, but this one's a little bit different. This one's for the supposed new Onyx wallet. Now, people may be telling me, like, who's going to care about this? First of all, sometimes people like to argue that XCN has around 145,000 holders. Who is going to care about a new Onyx wallet? This space has over 600 million owners, 145,000 approximately. That's nowhere near even 1% of the total amount of owners within this space as of right now in its entirety. And what I mean by over 600 million owners within this space, I'm talking about like literally this space overall. Allegedly, there's over 600 million owners. That's not for XCN. XCN only has around 145,000, but this space overall has over 600 million owners, supposedly, as we speak. So again, that's kind of a point of contention, right? When people like to say, who's going to care about a new Onyx wallet if there's not even, quote unquote, so many XCN holders to begin with? But for the context of what this is, I think it's actually pretty impressive. If we think about it, okay, sure, 145,000 compared to around 600 million, it's peanuts, right? But if we take a look at it, 145,000 is a lot if we think about that, right? 145,000 holders? I mean, a lot of stadiums can't even have that many individuals. So this is like pretty impressive, actually. Even if only like 50% of the people that were holding XCN actually even cared about, you know, what they're even trying to do with the wallet and stuff like that, that's already kind of impressive, actually, in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion. This is just the way to take a look at it. I mean, is everyone going to care about it? Probably not, but even if some do care, this is pretty impressive. And keep in mind, around 145,000 holders, that's like still around 50,000 more than its closest competitor when it comes to Onyx, which is something called Zebic. ZBCN has around 95,000 holders. This has around 145,000. So when people like to say, oh, XCN doesn't have that many holders, well, its closest competitor loses out by actually around 50,000 holders. I'm still a big fan of Zebic. It has an aspect of Solana, and it kind of gives the same vibe as Onyx. It's focused on global chain finance as well, generally speaking. But still, XCN just has way more holders. So when people like to say, oh, this doesn't have that many holders, I just disagree with that, personally, in my opinion, relatively speaking, right? Now, people like to tell me, oh, what happens if there's no altcoin season? Am I concerned? Like they asked me that question, right? The answer is no. The reason why is because if, let's say, XCN, for whatever reason, could just go back to 1 billion in market cap, which we literally saw back in 2025, by the way. It's not like we have to take a look back years ago. Like, you know, again, I'm talking about many, many years. No. Let's just take a look back in 2025. We saw around 1 billion in market cap. What market cap are we as of right now? Slightly under 200 million. So we're over 5 times lower than that. If XCN never sees an altcoin season, let's just say it never does, it just goes back to where it once was, around 1 billion in market cap. I'm taking a vacation to Brazil. That's the way to take a look at it. I don't need XCN to see a hypothetical altcoin season. Just because it's so low, if it goes back to 1 billion in market cap, Brazil, here I come. That's the way to take a look at it. I'm also going to Ecuador, right? I don't need a hypothetical altcoin season to go to Ecuador or Brazil. If XCN goes back to 1 billion market cap, Ecuador and Brazil, you know, I'll be probably going there. This is kind of my mindset. Now, here's the thing. When I take a look at this situation right here, I mean, it's like I'm already going to Sizzler at that point, right? That's just kind of my analogy. Like going to Brazil, Sizzler, Ecuador, it's just kind of like a, I guess, metaphor for me to showcase my happiness. So I don't need a hypothetical altcoin season to be quote unquote happy. If it goes back to where it once was, again, at that point, I have zero complaints. I'm not going to complain whatsoever. This is my mindset. So when I take a look at, for instance, something like Onyx, right? I don't need it to be having this hypothetical altcoin season at this point? Because the market cap is slightly below 200 million. Let's just say for simplicity's sake, we assume around a 200 million market cap, right? When it comes to XCN, had the pullback only been to like 700 million, 600 million, or whatever like that, if it just went back to a billion, then it's very boring at that point. It's like, okay, the recovery's not even that impressive. But because it's dropped like pretty low in the grand scheme of things, if it just went back to a billion, you know, I'm not going to complain at all, actually. That's my mindset. This is just the way to take a look at it. So when people like to tell me that, oh, when it comes to Onyx, if there's no altcoin season, it's disappointing. Well, I don't think about it that way. Because again, we're literally around 5 times lower than where we just saw XCN slightly over a year ago. Bitcoin is not around 5 times lower than where it was slightly around a year ago. Neither is Ethereum. That's the way you take a look at it. So when people like to tell me, oh, when it comes to Onyx, if it has no altcoin season, it's a flop. Well, I don't feel like that is the case for me because, again, the market cap is literally around 200 million. Now, if the market cap of XCN for whatever reason right now was like 700 million, 600 million, then yeah, okay, at a billion in market cap, it's like, who really cares at that point, right? But just because we're on 200 million though, that's the thing. Like, it's kind of low in my opinion compared to where it once was. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything here, but my mindset is I'm still dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting, that's it. So when people like to tell me, again, Onyx is so bad, well, a bunch of altcoins are not doing the best, right? And XCN, it's not like it's a big altcoin by any means. It's not like top 50 or something like that. So yeah, sure, the movements may be a little bit more kind of intense in the downwards direction. However, at the same time, if things are low, what am I happy for in terms of what I want to do? And that is dollar cost averaging, right? I would like to preferably accumulate when it comes to as low of a point as possible. It's like, for instance, in the world of real estate, let's say, right? Would I be happier buying property when it's low or when it's expensive? It's only logical for me to assume that if I'm a real estate developer, I'd preferably like it if it was as low as possible, right? I can't control that. I have no control over that, but preferably I'd like it if it's lower. That's just kind of the mindset that I have. So why is it any different here? This is kind of the way I take a look at it sometimes. But yeah, this is just my mindset currently. When it comes to something like, Onyx, people are going to tell me, oh, this project has no future and all this. Well, let's take a look at this, right? Onyx's closest competitor, again, is something called Zebic. Zebic's market cap is literally around 200 million as of right now. What is also at around a 200 million market cap? XCN. So it's not like it's completely getting, I guess, outshined by its closest competitor, which is Zebic. It's not. It's literally basically like in a comparable position right now. So when it comes to something like Onyx, if its closest competitor is also more or less at the same market cap that it is as of right now when compared to XCN, does it really mean that it's getting, completely blown out of the water when it comes to, or should I say when compared to its closest competitor? I don't think so. So I don't think it's like doing so bad comparatively speaking. I mean, yeah, it's had a pullback, but so has ZBCN. So kind of my mindset as of right now is just I like to be holding as opposed to not. And keep in mind again, supposedly on the 27th of March, they're going to be releasing the mainnet of their layer 1 blockchain called Goliath. So when it comes to March, either way, I still have things to look forward to when it comes to Onyx fundamentally. But ultimately though, when will the market really start, returning back to previous levels? I have no control over that. The only thing I can do is wait and hold. But one thing I do know, though, personally in my perspective, was that I don't think, back in early 2025, that was a hypothetical altcoin season, right? I don't think it was. So if ZBCN could just go back to that point, again, I'm going to Brazil and Ecuador. That's kind of my mindset. I'm going to Sizzler. So as of right now, I'm just going to be, waiting, and that's it. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but this is just personally my perspective. However, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you have a very nice day, and I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to Onyx moving forward, so hopefully I'll stay tuned for that. Again, it's Malik the Captain, and hopefully I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.